Cheers in America as more prisoners of war are released. Chaos spreads in southern Iraq as Saddam Hussein fights to regain control. And charges of police brutality in Los Angeles. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Complying with the UN resolution, Iraq today officially canceled its annexation of Kuwait. The Iraqis also freed more prisoners of war, all of them, they say, but the Americans and others are stuck in Baghdad tonight. Betsy Aaron is there.
Baghdad was battered by gale force winds all day, the weather causing a delay in the prisoner exchange. This morning, the Iraqis turned over 35 prisoners of war to the Red Cross. 15 Americans, an Italian, 9 Britons, 9 Saudis, and 1 Kuwaiti.
They look all very happy to me, but as I said yesterday, I don't want to go into any medical aspects.
The 10 POWs who were freed yesterday were all able to walk into the hotel. Today, there were no photographs allowed of this second group to be freed. According to the Iraqis, the 35 freed today, plus the 10 yesterday, are all the Allied POWs who were captured.
I don't want to make any statements. Is it really all, or maybe is there maybe 1 or 2 left? I don't know. What we know is that, yes, there is this gesture and that there is this will to implement rapidly this repatriation process.
On the Iraqi domestic front, there were pictures of Saddam Hussein on television tonight. The message: there will be more sugar and more baby milk available immediately. The call has gone out to Iraqis to be responsible, to face up to any challenges, to maintain Iraqi unity under the leadership of President Saddam Hussein. What the challenges to Iraq are and where they are coming from has not been the subject of newspaper or radio reports in Iraq yet. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, Baghdad.
All the freed Allied prisoners are said to be in good medical condition and able to travel, including Captain Craig Berryman of Cleveland, Oklahoma. That's near Tulsa. He'd been shot down in his Marine Harrier jet. Neighbors celebrated on the Berryman's front lawn when news of his release came from the Pentagon. A short time ago, I talked with Captain Berryman's mother, a teacher in the local school. During the time that he was an MIA, missing in action, what were you thinking? What were you doing? How were you feeling those hours when you had to wonder?
We had many friends and many family members that spent many hours with us, and we had the hopes and the prayers of all of our friends and family through all of those hours to just uplift us.
We know what kind of military person he is, brave and resilient. What kind of person is he?
Craig is a very responsible person, a very determined person. He had a cause and he carried out that cause to the limits.
Saddam Hussein was under siege today from Shiite Muslim rebels in southern Iraq and Kurdish separatists in the north. The United States said it is staying out of the Iraqi power struggle. Jim Stewart has more from the Pentagon. Good evening, Jim.
Dan, Saddam Hussein's internal problems only got worse today, with fighting spreading to more than a dozen cities. And Saddam reacted by calling out what little he has left in the way of an army.
The Iraqi government has been employing the Republican Guard, the regular army, People's Militia, and police units in efforts to suppress this activity and may have restored government control in a few of the affected areas.
While fighting has cooled in some of the 6 cities reporting unrest yesterday, including the port city of Basra, new violence has broken out in 7 more areas. Baghdad is moving troops from the Turkish and Iranian border regions to protect Baghdad and fight against rebels in the south. Frightened refugees fleeing the area say units loyal to Saddam Hussein are better armed and equipped than the civilians and disgruntled veterans of the Gulf War opposing them.
They are armed with light arms, light weapons. They have captured some heavy equipment, but I believe they probably will be successful in putting this down because of the lack of organization and leadership.
But that could change if many of the estimated 100,000 plus Iraqi prisoners of war decide to turn on their government, which is already promising them amnesty in hopes of warding off an insurrection.
The myth of his invincibility has been shattered. as all of those thousands of members of the Iraqi military who fled Kuwait now move north, they're going to carry with them the word of the disaster that has befallen Saddam Hussein's forces in Kuwait.
U.S. forces, which have assumed defensive positions just south of the troubled areas, are not threatened by or involved in the fighting.
There's no move on the U.S. forces side to let any weapons slip through or to play any role whatsoever.
Saddam Hussein has faced rebellion before and survived, but never anything on this scale. The thinking here is that he may never be this vulnerable again. Dan?
Thanks, Jim. 7 months ago, Kuwaiti people fled Iraqi troops in tanks overrunning their country. Now things have come full circle and Iraqis are fleeing into Kuwait. Bob McEwen is in Kuwait City. Bob?
Dan, as violence continues to spread in Iraq, one of the few windows on what is happening there is a border crossing along the main highway that runs towards the city of Basra from Kuwait. They came out of the desert in a steady rain, a stream of people seeking home. Families fleeing the chaos in Iraq found it again near the border with Kuwait. This man brought a body to the border, saying his friend had been shot by Iraqi soldiers in Basra. All day there were reports of death at the hands of Iraqi troops, hunger in cities where the best food still goes to the Republican Guard. Many Iraqis bring to this border only confusion and fear, the baggage of a country that may be on the brink of civil war.
All of the people, Saddam down, army, killed the people killed the army.
In the other direction, the long road into Iraq is lined with the skeletons of Saddam Hussein's last war and Iraqi soldiers on the way to what could be his next. A few miles into Iraq, a no man's land, guarded by U.S. soldiers. Beyond this point, there are no guarantees. 28 Western journalists drove past this outpost yesterday, heading towards Basra. They haven't been heard from since.
They told us, you are the only one to get out. Don't know why.
These two Austrian reporters were seized by Iraqi soldiers on that road today. Held for 4 hours, they were questioned by Republican guards, then released.
And they were sitting there very relaxed, not at all nervous. I mean, it was some, as he just said before, it was some kind of coffee atmosphere in Vienna. But this was one of the strangest things.
For others, there were no happy endings. All day, refugees from Iraq were refused entry.
They just giving up. Had nowhere to go, nothing to do. Ready to start all over again.
For those turned away, there was only the long road back in the rain. Among the missing journalists are 3 Americans, last seen about 25 miles south of the city of Basra. The U.S. military command says that they may be in real danger. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. Iran is now moving to take full advantage of the turmoil in Iraq. CBS News correspondent Bob Fall recently returned from Iran and has this report.
There are signs that the country which still denounces Uncle Sam as the Great Satan is now trying to fan the flames against Saddam Hussein. Tehran has given sanctuary and has apparently unleashed anew Bakir al-Hakim, an obscure cleric who wants to install a Khomeini-like regime in Baghdad. Iran is trying to trigger an Islamic fundamentalist upheaval in Iraq, former Iranian President Bani Sadr said today in Paris, and Iraqi opposition groups do not disagree.
I can foresee from the now that there will be an Islamic Republic of Iraq. The uprising, it is the first priority of it is to topple Saddam Hussein.
But toppling Saddam may be harder than toppling the Shah. There are far more Shiites, and they are far more fervent in Iran than in Iraq. Iraqi Shiites have scant influence in key institutions like the army and secret police. While the charismatic Khomeini spent much of his 14 years of exile in Iraq setting up a government, Hakim, who has no charisma, hasn't set up anything. Still, exile groups worry that once Saddam signs a ceasefire, he will have the green light to crush Hakim or any other political foe.
We would like a commitment from the United States that will stop Saddam Hussein from using chemical gas against the uprising that is now taking place.
Other dissidents worry that if the U.S. supports Shiite extremists, it could replace a bad regime in Baghdad with one that is worse. that a stalking horse from Iran is the wrong horse to back. They warn Washington, be wary.
It is a spontaneous uprising by the people, the whole people. It's not a matter of a Shiite uprising or a fundamentalist uprising.
The early consensus, what is happening now in Iraq is the beginning of a complicated political process, and that while Iran, broke and hurting, would like to give Saddam the boot, it has not gotten actively involved yet. Bob Fall, CBS News, New York.
Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, police brutality charges rock Los Angeles, and a spectacular view under the clouds of the planet Venus.
Now you can ask Angela Lansbury about Bufferin.
Angela, for a miserable backache, is Bufferin really strong aspirin?
Oh, my, yes. I've learned extra strength Bufferin has the strongest dose of aspirin you can buy, 1,000 milligrams.
Miss Lansbury, how can Bufferin be so strong if it has buffers?
I wondered myself, till I heard that the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin stomach upset. I depend on Bufferin.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin?
Introducing a new idea in air freshening, Glade Country Pottery.
Put out the pottery, put it here, put it there.
Simple, handmade pieces of glazed pottery.
Put it everywhere, put out the pottery, put the fresh country air anywhere.
The porous clay releases the light, fresh scent for 30 days.
Just put out the pottery, put the fresh country air everywhere.
Put out the pottery, new Glade Country Pottery.
The reason 2 Oldsmobiles made the 1991 Consumers Digest Best Buys list is based on the same philosophy Oldsmobiles are built by. Exceptional value.
This is the new generation of Olds.
We baked pearls made of denture material in this blueberry pie to prove how powerfully Efferdent, America's leading denture cleanser, removes this tough stain, even in between. Efferdent, stronger than stains.
An unusual twist in a case of alleged race-based police brutality in Los Angeles. Neither the police nor the suspect knew that a home video camera had captured the scene. Jerry Bowen has the story and the pictures.
It began as a high-speed chase, according to the California Highway Patrol, and ended early Sunday morning with the motorist, a black male, being brutally beaten and kicked by Los Angeles police officers. A beating that continued even as the man appeared to offer no resistance. The motorist, identified as Rodney King, was apparently shot by a taser gun, which is used to electrically shock a suspect into submission. The wire can be seen stretching from the hands of one officer. But police also stomped on the man's head and repeatedly kicked him before both his wrists and ankles were bound, and he was left on the ground until he was picked up by an ambulance. The police action, captured on home video, stunned Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley.
I am as shocked and as outraged as anyone.
Civil rights officials charged the incident is part of a pattern of police brutality against minorities in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Police Department members acted Sunday morning as though they were members of a gang.
There appears to be a war here, a war by the police department on our community. And people who do acts like these are beasts and animals.
Witnesses say the motorist never resisted, but the home video started with the man rising from the pavement, turning toward an officer, and being beaten down. The picture then went out of focus. The FBI has now begun an investigation of the incident. The Los Angeles Police Department is conducting its own internal probe.
Even if we determine that the officers were indeed out of line in this case, it is an aberration. It is not the kind of conduct that we have normally from our officers.
2 men in the car with the beaten motorist were arrested and later released after questioning. California Highway Patrol, which was part of the original chase, is questioning its own officers to learn why they did not intervene to stop the beating. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
More fear in the Pacific Northwest today. Another tampered-with package of the cold remedy Sudafed turned up in the back room of a Tacoma, Washington store. That's 6 packages in all now. 2 people have died after taking Sudafed laced with cyanide. A third became seriously ill. All the poisonings were in Washington state. The product has been recalled nationwide. NASA today released the latest footage featuring the sizzling surface of the planet Venus. David Dow shows us the awesome highs and lows.
Welcome to the mountains and valleys of Isla Regio, a vast subcontinent of the planet Venus as it's never been seen before. This computerized tour of Isla Regio was created from thousands of radar pictures from the spacecraft Magellan. They reveal a surface that is so volcanically active that whole regions are periodically buried.
This requires immense flows of volcanic material, immense oceanic scale lava eruptions that could obliterate all of the very large craters.
Magellan was launched from the space shuttle Atlantis nearly 2 years ago. Since arriving at Venus last summer, it's mapped about 60% of a surface that's hidden from Earth by a dense shroud of clouds. Standing on this cratered surface would feel like standing a mile under the ocean, in atmosphere so dense that it can stop incoming asteroids.
Rather than just striking the surface, the smaller ones are being torn apart and shattered in the atmosphere.
The Magellan Picture Show was interrupted yesterday by a computer glitch, the fourth such dropout. But today, Magellan was back on track, nearing its first milestone, a full Venus day in orbit. On Earth, 243 days. David Dow, CBS News, Pasadena, California.
People who hurt from arthritis are discovering a safer aspirin, Ecotrin.
On a bad day, I can take up to 8 and not be concerned about irritating my stomach.
It's the orange coating that makes it safer.
Plain and buffered aspirin dissolves in the stomach where aspirin can cause damage. But Ecotrin's safety coating helps protect your stomach from aspirin's damage.
So I'm not worried taking the maximum dose.
Every 6 hours. Pow, pow.
For minor arthritis pain, the safer aspirin is Ecotrin. And that's the truth.
If you're counting calories, here's something you should know. An entire Kellogg's Special K breakfast, including cereal, fruit, skim milk, and coffee, actually has fewer calories than the leading diet shake. Fewer calories. And when you're dieting, isn't that what's important? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
Okay, what's new with the new generation of Oldsmobile? Still wondering?
This is a new generation of Olds.
Welcome to Mean Street, paved with drugs and death. These kids have to grow up here. You only have to stay for 48 hours, Wednesday.
A sign of changing times in Europe today. The last 16 American nuclear cruise missiles in Britain were flown out of the country. They're heading for Arizona to be destroyed as part of a U.S.-Soviet arms control deal. Soviet President Gorbachev and British Prime Minister John Major say the end of the Gulf War has improved chances for settling the Arab-Israeli conflict. After 4 hours of talks at the Kremlin today, Major said he welcomes Gorbachev as an important partner in the search for peace in the Mideast. President Bush has agreed to give Israel $650 million in emergency aid to cover Israeli losses in the Gulf War. Israel had asked for $1 billion to pay for its military costs, damage from Scud missiles, and lost revenue from tourism. U.S. Labor Secretary Lynn Martin today reminded more than 220,000 reservists called up for war duty that they have a right to reapply for the jobs they left behind. It's the law. Troops of the 82nd Airborne from Fort Bragg are likely to be the first coming home from the Gulf. They were the first in. White House officials denied reports that the first contingents would arrive back Thursday and get personal greetings from President Bush. Still, there's no question that partisan political operatives want to make victory on the war front pay off on the home front. Our chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has more about that.
We're proud to be an American.
Victory in the Gulf made most Americans proud, but political professionals in the Republican Party are downright giddy.
And I wonder whether any Democrat will ever again call George Bush a wimp.
If somewhere there existed an innocent soul who doubted Republican strategists would try to make political hay of the war, those doubts were removed by the new party chairman.
Had we had Democratic leadership in the executive branch of the U.S. government, Kuwait would not today be a free country.
Maybe, maybe not. But even many Democrats concede now that for the moment at least, the president's battlefield success has all but blown away any serious contenders for his job.
The chances of there being a tough, contested presidential election in 1992 are slightly better than that there'll be a contested presidential election in Kuwait.
Former Congressman Tony Coelho, one of the Democrats' shrewdest tacticians, agrees that the Democrats' reluctance to go after Saddam has left them in an awkward spot.
Many of the Democrats were hesitant. And that is something that people will ask us, we'll have to explain.
But politics is a lot like war. So as the president was savoring his battlefield success, Democrats this week were trying to shift the fight to another front.
We have to try to concentrate as much energy to create the same kind of economic strength for this country as we have created military strength.
And as top Democrats spoke at a labor convention here, it was clear their strategy will be a lot like General Schwarzkopf's. Avoid the enemy where he's strongest, attack him on the flanks.
It costs twice as much to buy one B-1 bomber as the federal government invests in all the mathematics and science assistance to education in the United States.
If we can build the best smart bomb, can't we build the best VCR? If we can use American technology and training to liberate the people of Kuwait, we can use American technology and training to benefit the people of America.
So can such a strategy put a Democrat in the White House next time? Perhaps, because the first thing to remember about politics is that any situation can change overnight. But right now, most of the pros believe the only thing that can keep George Bush from winning a second term is if Norman Schwarzkopf turns out to be a Democrat. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. A bell ringer of a day on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up more than 58 points, with investors betting the economy will rebound now that the war is over. When we come back, a report from the Persian Gulf on some forgotten victims of the Iraqi occupation of Kuwait. So stay here with us.
What a feeling, feeling fresh. What a feeling, feeling close. Feeling new Fix-A-Dent fresh.
Introducing Fix-A-Dent Fresh with spring water freshness for a crisp, clean feeling. And it holds stronger than any other cream adhesive.
Feel it, feel it. Feeling new Fix-A-Dent fresh.
A fresh new feeling and stronger hold are two new reasons to Fix-A-Dent and forget it.
Feel it.
You know, you get so much more out of cold mornings when you've got energy. That's why I eat grape nuts. And I found a great new way to make it hot. Just pour your grape nut cereal, add milk, and microwave it for 1 minute. You've got this warm, hearty taste that feels so good. And a natural energy source to help keep you going. So, even if it's a cold morning, hot grape nuts helps make it a good one. Try it yourself.
Hot or cold, breakfast with Post Grape Nuts helps keep you going strong all morning long.
Back in 1966, Oldsmobile brought on a revolution with front-wheel drive. Today, the evolution of Smart Track, the combination of all-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes, will again take the world by storm.
This is the new generation of
Poison ivy, insect bites, rashes. Too many choices.
You only need one. Cordaid.
Stop the itch and heal the rash with a brand doctors recommend most.
Present arms.
Cordaid, the only aid you need.
I'm Harry Smith.
I'm Paula Zahn. They shock millions with their controversial music.
Gene Siskel on Oliver Stone's new movie about the Doors tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
Iraq's occupation of Kuwait was a study in cruelty and the human ability to endure. But as Eric Ingberg reports, not all those who endured were humans.
When the triumphant Allies rolled into Kuwait City, there waiting for them, standing tall and brave, were the residents of the Kuwait Zoo. Their survival through the harsh months of Iraqi rule was the work of two unsung heroes of the occupation. Ali al-Houthi knew he couldn't fight the Iraqis, but he could do one small thing to preserve his nation's heritage. So Ali, along with his brother Suleiman, appointed themselves the guardians of the animals left to fend for themselves when the Iraqis closed down the zoo. Each day, the brothers went about their unglamorous resistance work, changing the hippos' water, scrounging food for hungry tigers, and tending to a bear that had been beaten by an Iraqi soldier. Trying to protect the animals could be heartbreaking work.
There are occasional incidents of cruelty which we've seen in zoos all over the world, but not the wholesale slaughter and destruction like we've seen here in Kuwait.
For no particular reason, one Iraqi soldier shot the zoo's elephant. The bullet is still lodged in the great beast's shoulder. On another day, an Iraqi general used a monkey for target practice. Dozens of other animals were killed.
They really harassed the animal. They took iron pipes and they jammed the pipes through the bars to hit the cats. They shot the wolves in their cages.
In the midst of the cruelty, some of the empty cages attest to acts of individual kindness. Some Kuwaitis carried birds and small mammals to their homes to wait out the occupation. The Al-Houthis, who shouldered most of the humanitarian work, are ready now to turn the zoo back to its regular keepers. If someone wants to nominate them for a decoration as heroes of the Kuwaiti resistance, there are plenty of witnesses here at the zoo to second the motion. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Kuwait City.
And that's part of our world tonight. We hope you'll stay tuned to this CBS station for America Tonight, right after your late local news. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
If you buy this new Oldsmobile and have a burning desire to haul 5,000 pounds through the desert in the middle of summer, go ahead. That's how we tested it.
This is the new generation of Olds.
We're about to prove a simple point. On the left, a steak wrapped in saran wrap. On the right, both Reynolds and Glad wraps. Now, knowing a tiger won't eat what a tiger can't smell, which one do you think holds in odor and freshness better? Saran wrap.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash sometime.
If you need to send money fast,
Hello, Tim.
come to any of Western Union's 16,000 locations. Or to send money by phone, call 1-800-CALL-CASH.
Just told me my sometime is now.
Western Union, fastest way to send money.
It was a dumb argument. It all started when she said she went to the GM dealership for an oil change. How long did it take, I asked. Less than 29 minutes, she said. Well, what, did they do anything else or just change the oil? She said they checked the fluids and everything. In less than 29 minutes, guaranteed. She said, no way, I said. Then she said, why don't you ever believe me? That's when I knew I was in trouble. Thanks.
Your GM dealer's serious about putting service back in the service department. So try Mr. Goodwrench Quick Lube Plus for a change.
This is CBS.